The stock market has just opened and it's in for another tough day after big falls on Wall Street, but worse might be on the way with the quarterly inflation rate due out in just over an hour. Our business editor Ross Greenwood joins us. Ross, how have markets opened?
Well, the markets have opened down as expected, Laura. So as we speak, the ASX 200 index is down around about 1.1%. So that wipes a further $20 billion off the value of Australian shares. You can see here from Wall Street overnight, the Dow Jones down almost 2.4%. The technology-laden Nasdaq down almost 4%. So no surprise here that many of the companies heading down fastest on the Australian market today are technology companies. Now, interestingly, in the United States, after hours last night, Google's owner Alphabet came out with its results. They were disappointing. So in after hours trading, those shares are down. Microsoft shares were better than expected. Its shares were higher, but the big one overnight was Tesla shares. Tesla shares dropped by some 12% overnight on fears that Elon Musk might have to sell some of his stock to be able to afford Twitter. As a result, that wiped out the best part of 126 billion US dollars, 177 billion Australian dollars. So as I say, given the fact our market's fallen about 4.7%, $90 billion, the whole market in the past 6 days, the fact of the matter is that those Tesla shares wiped out $177 billion last night in just one trading session.
Wow, he is one powerful man, Elon Musk, and just about to become a little bit more powerful too in our world. Now, let's talk about this inflation number. We all know that things are getting more expensive. Cost of lettuce, $5.50 at Woolworths. We've been looking.
Go figure that, right?
I know. Milk, bread, the list goes on. Even, seasonal fruits. So when we see this, basically this confirmation this morning that things are getting more expensive, what sort of pressure is this going to put on the RBA?
Well, do you imagine that you can see that? I can see that. Anybody watching this can see this. They can see the price of petrol. They can see the price of cars. They can see the price of food. And yet somehow the Reserve Bank says, well, we don't see it. We're going to wait until we see it. So here is the forecast. These are the Reuters forecasts for what it's going to be today. Annual CPI is going to rise from 3.5% to 4.6%. The annual inflation at 1.7%. If it's higher than that, then of course it puts enormous pressure on the Reserve Bank to raise interest rates in May. In other words, in just a week's time. Now, the fact of the matter is it probably should raise interest rates in a week's time in May. It might say that it's going to wait. This is the ASX Reserve Bank indicator of the cash rate. It's now saying there's a 44% chance that rates will be increased in May. But can I tell you, if you go beyond that, there's another chart which actually shows you what it imagines is going to happen with rates. It's this chart here. And what it shows you is it's saying that there are going to be rate rises pretty much all the way out until the middle of next year. And indeed, once it starts to rise in either May or June, that interest rates will rise in consecutive months for 6 months out until the end of the year. So that's what homeowners and business have to really understand and expect right now. Sure, that can jump around the place because it's based on markets. But the fact of the matter is that with inflation at 4.6% and with central banks around the world acting, our Reserve Bank at some stage has got to get ahead of the curve and not behind the curve as it is right now.
OK, there's also big changes at the Commonwealth Bank. Should we be nervous?
No. This is
okay.
One of Australia's most celebrated business people, Catherine Livingstone, the chair of the Commonwealth Bank, who's standing down. Now, remember that not only has Catherine Livingstone led the Commonwealth Bank right throughout the whole period of the Royal Commission, she oversaw the change of leadership at the Commonwealth Bank from, sort of Ian Narev moving on to Matt Comyn, the current chief executive. But before then, she'd been the the chair at Telstra, and it also led it through a fundamental change in that business. Before then, she'd been the chief executive of Cochlear, one of Australia's most celebrated companies, and also had spent a term as the chair of the Business Council of Australia. So really, sort of in many ways, one of our most celebrated business leaders, there's no doubt over a long period of time, a genuinely decent person, but somebody who has actually produced results in some of Australia's biggest companies, there's no doubt.
OK, yeah, she has certainly been someone that's been a leader in business, and I'm sure she'll go on to do some great things. Ross, great to talk to you.
Good stuff.
Bit nervous about those official figures coming out at 11:30. We'll have it all for us, though. I know you will. Thanks so much.